Welcome back to the Trauma to Testimony podcast. This is your girl, Tony, and we are back for another episode. Hey, Resilient Queen. Hey. I'm telling you, I'm getting, back to saying that, and I'm loving it. It's just, with a lot of all of these changes going on with just my business, it's been a lot. So, getting back to a place that feels comfortable for me has been very important. So today we will be continuing this God I Am Triggered series, and today we'll be talking just about the positioning that we need to be in with God when we're working through our triggers. So, this is going to be an interesting episode. I just pray and hope that you keep your, just your heart open and just have an open mind when it comes to just positioning yourself, because we know that, okay, when we trigger in the heat of the moment, we want to just show all out. Trust me, I've been there. I understand what it is to be triggered. I understand that, triggers is nothing light, it's nothing to be played with, that it is truly something that is serious, and that we definitely need to get the help that we need when we're triggered. And although, I'm going to give you just this method to apply just when you are triggered, to position yourself with God, make sure that you're actually going to God as well. Make sure that you're having that conversation outside of anything that I can give you, because God, is bigger. God has great insight. Of course, I pray before I do these episodes, and I take the time to really sit before God as I hit record and everything. But at the same time, your relationship with God is important, because God wants to know his child. So just make sure that outside of everything, that you're really taking the time to deepen and develop that relationship with God, to where you can go to God about all of your traumas, all of your hurt, and all of your pain. And God knows exactly where you're coming from when God is, you know, in that time of prayer with you, so that when you do get triggered, the you can be able to hear God and hear God's message clearly, because your eyes are open, your heart is open, your mind is open to hear God and to receive a message from God. So just wanted to lay that clear out before we get started today, because this is going to be a good episode. So as I was sitting with God, just asking about, just methods to help position ourselves with prayer, it came to me. Like, I was literally jotting down the bullet points for this episode, and God gave me the apply method. And I'm like, okay, God, do that thing. Oh, oh, because I get excited when God gives me things, and I'm like, ooh, there we go. Okay, so positioning yourself with God through your triggers. So, number one, we are going to be spelling out apply. So the first letter is A. A is for awareness. So now you're going to have to be seated in a position of awareness. So you're going to have to ask yourself the hard questions about what happened with this trigger. Like, what triggered you? Who triggered you? What was that moment? Let's process through it and unpack it and get to the root. And also, with unpacking it, you may not have all the answers. You may need help. You may need maybe seeking a therapist, or seeking a spiritual advisor, or a trusted friend to help you get through that position, to help you to say, okay, I need to be aware at this time to know exactly what took place. And then inviting God to bring the context of that awareness is important too. Because, I'm going to let you know, we don't always know ourselves, especially our identity in God. We don't know. So a lot of the times when we're triggered, we're just going through the emotions, and we don't know how to collect ourselves enough to say, hey, what actually happened? So I just pray that when you do get triggered, you take the time, or if you need help and guidance too, that's okay. To get take the time to get to a place where you can position yourself to be aware of what took place. So some questions to ask yourself on being aware is what happened? What was the event that happened that made me feel triggered? Another question is how did I feel when I was triggered? The third question is how do I get to a place of not having those feelings when the trigger happened? So those are some starter questions. And of course, like I said, um, you need to get in the position where you can always ask yourself questions when they come up. Like, I need to be aware of when these triggers come up because I need to be able to shift my mood, or I need to be able to get the help that I need. So I need to be able to explain it to my therapist, or I need to be able to explain it to my spiritual advisor or my pastor. I need to be able to paint the picture for them so that they can process it and help me. So the next letter is prayer. So let me tell you, prayer changes things. So as we always talk about prayer on this podcast, prayer is a simple, and I'm not going to say simple, take that back. But prayer is a conversation with God. A lot of us make it complicated, but it's literally just talking to God. Like literally saying, God, this is what it is. My, if you're talking about pain, my heart hurts, these are the things that just I need to lay out before you, God. Like it's literally having a conversation with a trusted friend. And the second that we get to a point where we understand that God is such a loving father and God only wants to be there for us, that's when we can be able to release and understand that, okay, although I'm in a position of feeling angry and upset and triggered, I can really sit and just say, God, listen, this is what it is. Like, I need you to release me right now. I need you to help me to get over this trigger. I need you to help me to get through this. And I need to, this pain, I don't like it. This hurt, I don't like it. Help me to heal my heart, God. Invite in just your loving kindness in my heart. Invite in the words that I need. Invite in the spirit that I need to endure this healing journey. Like a lot of us just need to have a conversation with God and go back to that place that hurt us so that God can tell us, reassure us of who we are and who we aren't anymore, and give us that clarity that we need to keep walking through healing so that we don't continue to get triggered. And the thing is, through prayer, only some things are going to come through prayer. Like God is going to release things to you as you sit at his feet. He's going to release things to you that nobody else is going to have access to. So you going to God in prayer is going to clear things up. So position of prayer. Okay. The next P is peace, seated in a position of peace. So when you trigger, you all upset. You like, listen, I don't even know. You either upset or you sad or you mad or you might be all those things mixed together. Trust me, been there, done that. And at that time, the one thing that you're going to want, especially I'm talking about when you've been triggered and you just feel like, oh, I cannot even function right now. At this time, you're going to want peace. You're going to want to find a way to get back to your peace. Peace is going to be the thing that frees you. Peace is going to be the thing that keeps you calm. Peace is going to be the thing that levels you out when you're in the heat of the moment. So you need to ask yourself, when it comes to peace, How can you regain your peace when you're triggered? Like, how can I come up with a plan and put a plan in place that helps me to take care of myself enough when I'm triggered to where I get back to peace? So, an example of that for me is I take long, hot, hot bubble baths, and it's not the fancy like how a lot of people just invest so much to their bubble baths. I just need to see the bubbles. I need to feel the water. I need to know that I'm sitting in the water, and at that time, that peace that comes from me when I've had a rough day and I feel like I'm triggered, it's grounding me. It's making me calm down. It's making me peaceful. Another thing is sometimes what I have noticed that I've been doing lately to get my peace, even when I'm going through things, is literally just sitting in silence. Like, I turn off television, I turn off everything. So I make sure that I am in just a position of everything being still, because that stillness reminds me of peace. It reminds me of taking the time that I need to be still and hear from God. So you have to find, how do you regain your peace when things are going rough and tough and you feel like all is going? How are you regaining your peace? For some, it might be prayer. It might be sitting literally, just in your prayer closet, just sitting there, because you just need to know that, okay, God, I don't know what is going on, but I just need some reassurance. For some of us, peace is taking a mental health day from work. Take it. The time will come back. Trust me. I've been there. Um, you are going to need peace to get through, especially when you're working through things and you're doing all of this healing work, and you're like, okay, I'm overcoming trauma. I'm really battling these triggers, but I'm jumping hurdles over them. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going through it and I'm healing. So you're going to need the peace. You're going to need the reminder that things are okay, and peace brings that. So the next letter is L. L, of course, is for love. So we know that, despite everything that happened, that when Jesus came, Jesus displayed that love like no other. I mean, people were traitors. They went against him. The very people that literally, were trying to just destroy him, he still offered that love. And when it comes to turning the other cheek and deciding to love, that stuff is hard. That it is hard when you feel like, okay, I'm triggered, I'm upset, I'm in a place where I just can't move forward. I don't know what is going on, and it's a little difficult. But I want you to position yourself seated in a position of love, where you now have to invite in God to say, God, how can I turn my hate, my pain, my hurt all into love? How can I, the next time when I feel like I'm triggered, the next time when I feel like I can't forgive this person, I'm upset, I'm mad, and it's like all of it feels like whirlwinds, and it feels like a storm and tsunami. Whew, tell me about it. The triggers be coming in. How can I be seated in a position of love? How can I turn all of that into love? How can I learn to love the people that may be on the other side of that trigger? How can I learn to love the situation that may be on the other side of that trigger? How can I learn to love myself? Whew, because sometimes I'm on the other side of that trigger. A position of love. Whew. So the next one is yes. Whew. Y is for yes. So seated in a position of yes. Sometimes when we have been through, trauma, and we've been through a painful past and we're still going through some rough things, it is so difficult for us to put our trust, our care, and our all into a yes. And when I'm talking about a yes, I mean your yes to God. I mean, going through the daily, you know, woes and positioning of life and knowing that you're going to have to show up for that yes. So when that yes comes, like, especially when you're working on your triggers, that yes may be yes to forgiveness. It may be yes to helping the very person that hurt you. It may be yes to um, going back to the place that you really don't even want to go through, you don't want to work on, you don't want to process because you done suppressed it and you over it. But your position of yes is to God. And God is in the details, and God is going to work everything out for your good. So when God commands you to go do something that helps you for your healing, your answer is yes. So take the moments to pray over your position of yes. Like, God, order my steps so I can be in position of your yes. So that when you send me to forgive somebody who imposed trauma on me, I'm not sitting over here wavering. I'm not sitting over here in disobedience. I'm not sitting over here holding on to a grudge and holding on to the past. And I'm not sitting here in anger, because the ultimate thing is for us to heal, for us to be better as a whole. Okay? So another thing to do when talking about your position of yes is that you need to pray for God to surrender your ego and your pride to trust and obey whatever God commands you to do. That ego and pride and proving a point will get you all messed up, especially when it comes to your triggers. Like, you need the healing. So overcoming just your pride and ego, it is okay. Proving a point, no, let me tell you, you don't need to be getting given that vengeance. You don't need to be going back trying to prove a point to anybody. Let God handle those things. Like, let me tell you, God can teach a bigger lesson and a better lesson than you. And you need to let go of that pain and hurt, because the longer you hold on to it, is the longer you're holding on to this trigger. It's going to be longer that you're holding on to the pain and the hurt. But if we know that God can heal us, if we know that we can get to a place where we're no longer triggered, if we know that we can sit here and really be seated at the feet of God, and I mean, literally praying and being aware and having peace and having love and having our yes go to God, then we can ultimately get to a place of healing. So I want you to apply. That's funny, because this is the apply method. I want you to use this apply method in your life when it comes to positioning yourself with God. Like, maybe some of us need to really sit and work on that being aware area. And that's okay. Like, maybe we may be at A for a while because we need to learn how to be aware. And maybe some of us may be at the prayer and have it all together. Like, we praying daily. We're seated at the feet of God because we know that we need to get some things together. And maybe some of us we need to do a lot of work in our peace area. Maybe just the way somebody smell or look, it sends us to a place that it's like, oh, I just really don't like being in this place. Maybe some of us need to learn how to love. Like, I'm talking about love like Jesus. Okay? And then maybe some of us need to really get some strength in our yes to God and get back to a position where we're being obedient and we're trusting and obeying God. So this apply method, I pray that it blesses you. I pray that you be able to take this method and sit before God. Check it out with God. Anything I say, I'm telling you, check it out with God, and be able to really get to that deep place that we need to get to about what we have been through. Because for the second that we know that we can really have this deep relationship with God where we share everything that we have been through, we can sit in a position and be free, like set free. So, as always, I wish the best for you. I pray the best for you. And I am just a girl with some trauma in her past, but a whole lot of Jesus. I'll talk to you next week.